Okay, you better think about what you're doing, and you better think about what's important to you and who is important to you, because you're sitting there trying to make a name for yourself for these people that, at the end of the day, they don't give a about you. They met you over a bowl of mush.
So what do they call you?
Little John.
What are you incarcerated for, sir? And how long is your sentence?
I came to prison for voluntary manslaughter. I came with 16 years. Unfortunately, picked up more time in here.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Picked up 18 more years inside.
On what charge?
Well, I pled out. They were attempted murders, but I pled out to battery with a weapon.
Damn.
Causing GBI.
18 years. That's a long time.
I know, man. You don't start filling in until after your original release date, which mine was going on almost 4 years ago now.
So you would have been home already on this manslaughter charge. You would have been home living it up. It had not been for this this battery on the inmate.
Yeah, I would, man. But unfortunately, I fell victim to this life in here that people sometimes want to glorify, or I don't know how they do it. But it took me a long time to grow up and realize what was really important in life.
Where you from out here on the streets?
I'm from Richmond, California.
At any point in time, were you associated with any type of gangs or organizations or anything like that, man?
Nah, not no gang member or nothing. I just was in that street life, that type of mentality, and coming in prison at such a young age. That's basically all I know. All I knew. I'm not gonna say all I know, but all I knew at the time. And it's easy to get wrapped up into the negative things, and at that young age, you're impressionable, and people take advantage of that. They're very calculated, and they know how to do it, and they mold you into what they need you to be, not what they want you to be, what they need you to be. And you think you're doing right, you're told lots of things like, hey, yeah, if you don't do this, then it's over. You see people get hurt pretty bad for breaking the rules, and so you don't want that to happen to yourself. And as much it makes us in here sound like followers. That's pretty much what it is, we follow suit or it's over. Yeah. Well, I showed up. Me and a couple of guys. We all showed up. We showed up to a house, and there was a guy there that the victim.
You sound a little far, by the way.
I didn't know him personally. Oh, sorry about that. But the victim, I didn't. This was my first time meeting him. The people that I heard of them, didn't never know them. We all lived the same type of lifestyle, and it was messed up because things transpired within that room, and he ended up losing his life, and he didn't deserve that,
What transpired?
Really, it was really altercation transpired, and then a gun was pulled out, and people were wrestling, and the gun went off, and he was shot to death.
How did this altercation even initiate, man? What was it over?
to be honest, people needing sleep. I had just got out of a drug program myself, right? Well, I didn't get out. I got kicked out of it, and I was only out 20 days from that. And the whole time, you know, everybody's out there ripping and running, doing the most, staying high all the time. That was my life from a young age. I didn't really, I didn't live with my parents, and I chose that. I chose to go out to the streets because I was grown, you know. No one's going to tell me what to do. I had people who tried to save me, and they tried to reel me in and teach me what was important in life, and I didn't see it. And then I got hooked up with the wrong things, started using drugs heavily, and that is what it was over, really. People not being able to conduct themselves and not in the right state of mind.
So you shoot this individual to death. What did you pursue to do immediately after? Did you try to get away? And ultimately, how was it that you got caught?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yeah, I didn't know if how badly he was hurt. I didn't know none of that. All I knew was I had to get out of there. You know, anytime any situation like that happens, flight or fight instinct comes in. You just know you need to get to safety. So I left, and I ended up getting arrested the next day, actually, in a high-speed chase, and I couldn't get away. Man, those Chargers are fast. I was in a Corvette, and I couldn't get away. I ended up wrecking and got arrested, and the person whose house it was at, that it transpired at, I guess my name came up, and that's how they found out that I was at the house when it transpired.
So now you're in the courts, and how were you able to drop it down to a manslaughter charge? Was that what you were initially charged with?
No, I was initially charged with murder.
So you were looking at life. Did you get yourself a lawyer?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I had a public defender. You know, I don't come from a wealthy family, or I didn't have money. You know, I was real young, and I couldn't afford no lawyer. I got lucky that everybody that was around and stuff. You know, the case was real wishy-washy. Everybody's lying. Everybody's pointing the finger at the next person, and nobody really knew what happened, but the people that were in that bedroom. But everybody had a comment. Everybody had something to say, you know. They couldn't. The evidence wasn't. They didn't know what happened. Basically, that's why it got dropped down to the manslaughter.
So how much time did you get? You said you got 14 years for this charge?
No, 6. I got 16.
16 years. Okay, not too bad. Okay, now, please take your time and explain to me your prison journey. You know, where was the first prison you landed at? And did you yourself get involved within the politics there?
Yeah. Well, first, you know, I went through reception, which was San Quentin, a notorious prison. Yeah, everybody always hears about that, like in the movies and stuff like that. So I really didn't know what to expect. And coming from county jail, I was the youngest person on the bus, and people that I kicked it with, there's like 5 of us. We all that I knew very well. We all caught the chain together. That means we got on the bus together going to reception. So we pull up to San Quentin, and they're reading off their names, and all these guys that I thought were the shit, and they was cool because they were in and out of prison and this and that. And we get there, and they all go down to the level 2. But my young ass gets sent to the level 4 immediately. So all these, that's really, that was my first eye opener, right? Is because all these people that I thought was like, oh yeah, they live their life, they're in and out of things. They're in and out of prison. I idolize that for some reason. I don't know why. Just immaturity, I guess. But I realized right then and there that, man, they're not doing time. I mean, they're doing time, but they're not doing time. You know, it's completely different, those lower levels compared to a level 4. And
You have 60 seconds remaining.
I came in at that level 4, and I'm still here all this time later.
How did you pick up those additional 18 years? What was it that happened?
Well, one was in Corcoran. The yard was bad, so I had to go unless I wanted to be deemed bad. There was a guy who was running that yard trying to act like he was this and he was that. Now, mind you, this is the first main line I went to. I went there from the section. So I had to get off. So I attacked him. You know, in here, oh, look, I'm code right now. In here, we live our lives to a certain standard, and we hold ourselves to a certain standard, and there's rules that we live by. And sometimes certain yards you just can't be on, or you're deemed no good. Well, unfortunately, I got stuck on one of those yards. The first prison I went to, which happened to be Corcoran. It was 3A yard over there, right? At the time, it was a level 4, 270, and it just was. They call it. There's a green light on the yard. You just don't hang out there. So I get there and I'm not really sure what to do. I'm young, 18 years old, impressionable, but I know I got to get out of there. So someone had advised me, like, hey, just the person who thinks he's the baddest, just go ahead and deal with him. Don't hesitate, don't wait, just go. So I did that, and I ended up using a weapon and attacking someone because I knew I had to leave there. It's the start of my prison career, we call it, right? I know it's kind of sad to think of a prison lifestyle as a career, but that's the terminology that's used. And I wanted to be able to shine, I guess you would say, in the beginning. Like, I didn't want no negative things spoke on my name. I hold myself in that manner for a very long time. I cared about what people thought. So I ended up catching 8 years for that. They gave me 4 years, doubled to 8, because I already had 2 strikes from my original case. So they give you a strike enhancement, doubles your time no matter what it is. So I really got 4 years, but doubled to 8. So I'm doing the shoe term now. I'm in Corcoran shoe at the time. And I ended up leaving there after my shoe term ended, and I went to New Folsom. Now, that was New Folsom, as far as prison goes, that was the best prison I've been to. The way it was for us as an inmate, like, you didn't get sweated on nothing. Things were ran a certain way to where there was no unnecessary. I mean, all the drama is unnecessary, right? But there was no stupid little kid drama, I guess you would say. People conducted themselves in the right manner. But when I showed up there was the Mexicans and the blacks had just got into a war. So I had the luxury of having two jobs, and so I was out of the cell all the time. And I only lasted 5 months, but it was on a fluke. Someone came into my building. I was a porter in, and started stabbing my cellie. Now, I knew that wasn't supposed to be happening, so I ran over there and I beat the shit out of the dude that was stabbing my cellie. And so I go catch a shoe turn for that. Now, I didn't pick up no more time, or the courts didn't pick it up or nothing like that. They ended up sending me back to New Folsom after that shoe term. I get there and I'm there for like 11 months, and some other political stuff transpires and happens, and someone has my name in their mouth, and they're trying to, basically they were trying to get me killed, the things that they were saying. And I didn't like it, and things came out on that individual where he was in the wrong, so he had to be dealt with. So next thing you know, they snatched me up. They find him in his cell with stab wounds in him. They snatched me up. Confidential information was dropped saying that I was the one that did it, and all kinds of stupid things. But it was 2 months later after the incident had happened. So I end up getting sent down to Tehachapi Shoe. Now down there it's more strict. I got hit with the indeterminate shoe, so I got stuck back there for years, for some years. But they changed the laws, and they started letting validated people get out of the shoe. Finally, after people who sat back there for 30 years, man, their whole lifetime back there, just stuck in a cell, nothing, no cellies. It was bad, but they let everybody out. So I get out of there in 2015. I got there in 2012. They let me out in 2015, and I got sent up to High Desert. I was up there at High Desert for a while. In 2018.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
In 2018, someone showed up there that we had already got word about. It was in trouble, and at this time, I was in a political position. I had been around a while, and I was around certain individuals that took a liking to me, and they trust me. So I came with a good name, and basically it's just common sense in here, But some people, common sense isn't so common, really. So when this guy shows up, and we all know about it, it fell on me to do. So I end up stabbing this guy. And catching an attempted murder for this one, and I got 11 years for that. 11 years. And it happened at Odin Services. So all the whites, it's mandatory. Basically, people go to these services just to communicate, because you don't see nobody on a level 4 180 yard. You come out with your building, that's it, And the whites population is so small. When I left High Desert C yard up there was only 8 whites on both the upper and lower yard. That's 8 buildings. So you're lucky if you have another white in your building with you. So everybody signs up to these Odin services, and we go, whether you believe in it or not. A lot of people do. They do their little.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Who want to participate in it, but on this particular day, there was 2 other alarms that had 2 other codes, so they were going to recall the yard, and it had to be done. This mission had to be done. So I ended up I ended up catching an attempted murder on this individual, and they dropped it down to battery with a weapon, and then the 3 year, which I got 4 years for, they doubled it to 8 again, just like the previous one. But on this one, they gave me a 3-year GBI enhancement.
Is there ever a point in time where
go back to, yeah,
is there a point in time where you just look in the mirror and just are hate yourself or are disappointed with some of the decisions you have made?
Yeah, a lot, especially when that shoe's on the other foot, like because of the people that I was involved with and the people that I was around and the political game in general. It's a Shark Tank, right? So when that circle actually turns on you and you fall victim to the same thing that you were doing and you believed it to be the right thing to do. I mean, because sometimes you don't really know. If you're told to do something, you don't say no. Well, majority of people don't, but a lot of people, like me myself, I got it. If I'm going to throw my life away, which now, when I caught that first case in Corcoran, something inside of me turned off. And it was like I had accepted, okay, this is going to be my life. I'm not even in prison for 6 months yet, and I've already picked up another 8 years. How am I going to do the rest of this time? This is going to be impossible. So I lived my life like I was a lifer, I committed a lot of violence in here, and I think about it, and it's like, for what? For what? Because I wanted these people who will turn on you at the drop of a hat to like me, to speak good about my name. It's a messed up environment, man. I went through some stuff, and I got snatched up, and they tried to kill me too. Things happen. It's not a cakewalk, and people who want to glorify it, like, really are immature, in my opinion.
May I ask what happened in your situation? What happened that they turned on you?
Man, there's a lot of things, right? That transpired with that I don't even know. I'm not even aware of. Really, people started getting hit. I really shouldn't. Look, these things that didn't involve me directly started happening to people that I was around and befriended, and who liked me and who were my backing for me to have the political standing that I did. RICO cases came out. People are fighting federal death penalties, all kinds of stuff, right? Well, now those people, that circle of people are gone. So what transpires next? There's got to be a new head. There's got to be a new head, right? So all the wolves come out. And anybody that has anything to do with people that they're not in that, like, this new circle. Yeah, they got to. You cannot leave a threat around. If you are trying to be in charge and run,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
you have to make an example. And anything, okay, look, all the shit that these people did, we're not tolerating that. So we're going to eliminate you too, because we know that was your friend, and you might feel some type of way here in the next month or so and go rogue and get one of us. So you got to eliminate a threat immediately. You know, that's the name of the game, and that's what
So
happened.
you were underneath a certain individual. He was removed, or he was out of the question. So and came in this new entity, and basically you were on the opposing side.
Yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. And but it made no sense because I really wasn't. It really wasn't like that in my book. In my book, I was in charge. I had the yard for the whites, and I was doing.
Unknown caller.
No, I knew it was. I knew it was coming because I got stripped of the yard, right? And so for 2 months, I walked around waiting for it to come, not knowing who it was going to be. There's only so many people that it could be, right? But normally when you get stripped of your position like that, that's what you know what's following it. You know, I was fortunate here. I didn't get hit. They someone said some stupid things over the tablet, and they snatched me up for life and danger. They tried it twice. The first time they called me up there to the program office, and they're like, "Hey, you know, your name's being talked about. It's not looking too good for you." And now, mind you, these games get played with us all the time by people with a badge. You know, so you never know what to believe, right? But I kind of had a good rapport with. I was an executive body MAC rep for a while up there, you know, so I had that good rapport with staff up there, and they told me, they're like, look, it's not looking good for you. People aren't happy. What do you want to do? And you know, I'm stubborn. I'm just like, nah, I'm not going out like that. Nah, I'm taking it back to my cell. So I get back to my cell, and I'm telling my cellie about it, and he's like, what? That's crazy. But my cellie had just moved in, and he had just caught a murder.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Not long before moving in with me. So now the mind game start to get played, and you do it to yourself. Now I'm wondering, okay, is that why they wanted him to move over here? You know? So now you got to sit there and are you really going to sleep good in that situation? Some people might, you know, but so I'm wondering what to do. I was fortunate because I knew he didn't have like there's only so many places in a cell, you know what I mean? So you know if somebody has a weapon or something of that nature, right? So I never felt that threat within those walls. Otherwise, there would have probably been a big difference, you know. I would have had to defend myself. I'm not ever going to be a sitting duck and let something come, right? But it didn't happen. Next thing you know, 2 days later, squad's on my door, 5 deep, cuffing us up. They take me up there to the program office, and they read me these emails of people talking, and I'm like, are you guys serious? Like, what part of the game is that? Like, you guys all are supposed to be these super gangsters and this and that, and you're speaking over this tablet to where you get me snatched up. Like, if you really wanted me dead like that, why are you doing this? You know, like I would never, like if I was doing if the roles was different the shoe was on the other foot, man, that would never happen. Anybody that I felt had to fall victim, it's going to happen. I'm not going to send it over a recorded device that we know is monitored. I don't know. The prison has changed, though, you know? Prison has changed.
So you've seen the who's who. You've been around the names and the people that are of high status. Now that you've had a lot of time to reflect, now that you've been there and done that, you picked up the cases, you picked up the bodies. May I ask, what is your perspective on this whole thing now? What would you say to the next individual who's looking to make a name for himself?
I would, man, I would say you better think about what you're doing, and you better think about what's important to you and who is important to you, because you're sitting there trying to make a name for yourself for these people that, at the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about you. They met you over a bowl of mush. The most important thing should be your family. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're doing life in prison, it doesn't matter. You need to focus on yourself and the things that life is about. You know, I've been locked up since I was a kid, since I was a juvenile. I never got that experience living a life. I've been incarcerated my whole life, and if that's what you want, man, I don't know what to say to you, because I don't think you really understand the game that you're playing.
You know, I want to go ahead and say thank you, man. I sincerely appreciate you sharing us a piece of your mind, man. You had a very interesting journey, man, and it's sad to say, man. Is it safe to say that it was all for nothing?
Yeah, it was. Yep, from day one, from that original crime, that original murder, it was all for nothing. And you know, the crazy part about it is like, and the crazy part about it is I have two co-defendants from the original murder case, right? And they both got 3 years with halftime. But guess what they're doing now? They're out there living that free world. They got families, they got kids. They both own their own homes now. They're working, they're doing, and that's all I want. You know, I just want that opportunity.
And you can do it too, man. Stay out the way, man. Now that you're on this positive track, man, you know, keep your head up, man, and you know, take all the right courses, man. They are letting so many lifers out, man. It's ridiculous the amount of lifers that are getting out, man. Stay out the way, bro. You'll be out in no time.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate that, man. You got to stay positive, right?